Hey guys, so today I am going to be making a yummy dessert. I know a lot of people who are on keto tend to miss those yummy desserts. There are a lot of substitutes out there and sometimes they just don't hit the spot. But today I'm making a burfi. It's very simple. It's very few ingredients and it takes just a few minutes in the microwave and you'll be amazed how yummy it is. So our main ingredient for this recipe is going to be full fat or whole milk ricotta cheese. Don't use the low fat version, it's just not worth it. Again, we're trying to get as much fat as possible into our diet, so this is definitely the way to go. We've got whole milk ricotta cheese and we're going to take 2 cups of that. Once we've got our 2 cups of ricotta cheese, full fat whole milk ricotta cheese, into our container, this container that we're going to be using is going to be a microwave safe container, and you want to make sure that you have a lid because once it starts cooking in the microwave, it's going to start splattering everywhere and you definitely don't want to mess, so definitely grab a container that has a lid. And to that we're going to add a half a cup of erythritol. Now this is just the granular, regular version of erythritol. It is not powdered. It doesn't need to be powdered for this recipe. And we also have some saffron. Now this is an optional ingredient, but anytime you use saffron, it's got a flavor like nothing else. So there's no really good substitute for it. And not only does it have this amazing flavor, but it also adds a little bit of yellow or orangish color to your dish. So it's definitely optional, but highly recommended. And you just need a few strands because a few strands go a long way. And it is super expensive, so you want to be careful about that. So what I'm doing right now is I put a few strands into the erythritol and I'm just gonna kind of pinch it and break it down. The saffron is very fragrant and it's very potent, but you wanna make sure it gets all across your dish. And that way if you do this, it kind of helps it spread a little bit more. And it looks like just a little bit, but it's gonna give just the right amount of flavor and color to our dessert. And once it's kind of broken down like that, I'm going to pour it in. Next, we've got a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And finally, we have half a teaspoon of cardamom powder. Now, if you're using the whole seeds, you can take a 1/4 teaspoon and just pound it down, and it makes a half a teaspoon once it's powdered. But this right here is half a teaspoon of cardamom powder. And that's all the ingredients. All we're going to do is mix it up really nicely so everything is well incorporated. And you can see the saffron is already starting to release some of that color. And once it's mixed in, we're going to flatten it out, get all that ricotta cheese from the sides, and kind of make it into a nice flat area. And now we're going to cover this and we're going to put it in the microwave. Now, it's going to cook in the microwave for about 18 minutes, and that's my microwave, which everybody's microwaves are different, so you might have to experiment with this a little bit, but mine's a pretty powerful microwave. 18 minutes is what it takes me, but I'm going to break it down into increments. So it's going to go in for 4 minutes, and then we're going to take it out, stir it, another 4 minutes, take it out, stir it, another 4 minutes, and then we're going to finish it off with another 2 increments of 3 minutes and 3 minutes. Now, as complicated as that sounds, it really isn't. It just needs a little bit of patience. So put it in there for 4 minutes, forget about it until the microwave comes off, and then we're going to take a look at it. All right, so here is our mixture after the first 4 minutes. Now it's going to be really hot, so be sure you're careful when you're opening this up. And a lot of liquid condensation forms on the lid, so make sure that you put that elsewhere and not back into your burfi mixture. Our goal is to kind of dehydrate the mixture, so any extra moisture that's there, you want it out and not back in. And if you can see now, it's starting to cook around the edges, and we're just going to mix it up really well. And look at the saffron. So the beautiful color is releasing in there, and it smells amazing already. So the first couple of times we cook this mixture, you'll notice that the mixture is actually a little more liquidy than we started out with. And that's because the erythritol is actually melting down into the whole mixture, and that's why we have a little more liquid. But as time goes by, it's going to cook down and it's going to dehydrate. And in it goes again for the next 4 minutes. 4 minutes later, and let's take a look. It's looking great. And as you can see, the saffron is still releasing all that beautiful color, and it smells amazing. You can smell the cardamom, you can smell the saffron. Yum. Again, we're gonna stir it well. So the reason we're doing this in stages, don't take the shortcut and put it in for the entire amount, because microwaves really tend to cook unevenly. So a lot of the spots are going to be really dry and dehydrated. A lot of them is going to be liquidy. And the reason we keep stirring it is to kind of mix everything around and get it where it's equally cooking instead of cooking in patches like it normally would. And in it goes for the next 4 minutes. Okay, there we go. This is 12 minutes later. Now you can definitely see the ricotta cheese is kind of clumping together, and we know we're on the right path. And this time it's going to go in for 3 minutes. Right? This is 15 minutes later. It's coming along just perfectly. And back in for another 3 minutes. All right, let's take a look. Look at that. It has dried up considerably from where we started. Looks beautiful. It also has that nice cooked flavor. A lot of times when we cook things on the stove, especially milk products, it gives a nice, very nutty and very yummy flavor and texture to the whole dish. And this pretty much replicated it. Check it out. And now at this point, we've been cooking it for 18 minutes. Like I said, everybody's microwaves are different, and also the type of ricotta cheese, the different brands that you use will put a little bit of difference in the amount of time it takes to cook. Now this is pretty dry. For me, it's pretty dry, but I'm going to put it in for just 1 more minute just to get that last bit of moisture out. And you don't want to cook it too much, because at this point it's going to start burning, so you want to be very, very careful. I'm going to even it out again so it doesn't cook unevenly. And I'm going to stick it in for just 1 more minute. That looks perfect. See how it clumps together? It's perfect. All right. So now what we're going to do is we have a little baking dish right here. It's just a little pan. It doesn't even have to be metal. It can be a glass dish. Anything that you have to basically set this burfi in. And I've got some wax paper. Now you can go the traditional route and take like a little bit of butter or a little bit of ghee and kind of smear it at the bottom of this pan. And that way when we set our burfi, it'll come out easier. But I like to use parchment paper because it's a lot easier and things just pop out without any kind of effort. So I have a little piece of parchment. We press it down at the bottom of this pan. And we're going to take our burfi and kind of place it in there. And once we have all our burfi in here, all we're going to do is spread it to all the sides. And you want to get it as smooth as possible, because eventually we're going to cut these into little pieces, and we want to make sure that each of the pieces is nicely formed and nicely flattened out. You can even take something a little more flat to kind of help it even out. All right, so once this is flattened out, like so, we're going to take this and we're going to put it in the refrigerator and just let it harden up. And once it comes out, we can cut it into any shaped pieces that we like. Alrighty, so our burfi is nice and set. Now I cheated a little bit and I put it in the freezer just so I could get on with this process. But I had it in the freezer for about 15, 18 minutes. You can do that, but if you are not in a rush, then just keep it in the refrigerator. It'll work out just fine. And now I'm going to lift this out. See how easily that popped out, and no digging in and breaking off pieces or anything like that. And once we have it out, I have just a regular pizza cutter. Now I'm going to cut this into 24 little squares. The way you cut it is entirely up to you. Some people like diamond shapes, but I feel like when you do diamond shapes, you know, you have some mismatched pieces, and I want to be able to calculate the macros in here. I want to be able to know how much fat and how much protein and how much carbs I have. So I'm going to stick with even pieces, and that way I'll know exactly what I'm putting into my body. But anyway, here we go, 24 pieces. See how nicely it just cuts right through? It's set just perfectly. So I'm going to go 6 this way and 4 this way. There we go. Check this out. It's a beautiful piece of burfi. And if you set this a little bit longer, like I said, I cheated a little bit. If you set it a little bit longer, it's going to be completely firm and you won't even get little crumble pieces that fall off. Now this burfi tastes the best at room temperature. So it's quite a bit and it'll probably last you a while. So go ahead and keep it in a container that has a tight fitting lid in the refrigerator. But when you want to consume it, just keep it out for like 5 minutes or so and it'll come to room temperature and it has the best flavor. So let me go ahead and give this a little bit of try here. Cut me off a little piece. This is so good. It's got a nice flavor of the cardamom, the saffron. It really comes through after all that cooking, and the texture is just moist and perfect. Delicious. Now this is a dessert that's perfect for the festivals that come in, like Diwali or Holi or any of those festivals that come in and you feel like you're missing out on enjoying things that your friends are having. This will be perfect. And the main thing about the sustainability of this lifestyle is, of course, knowing that you're not missing out on the yummy things in life and watching your friends eat all these delicious desserts and you're missing out. So what I tend to do is I pack a couple of pieces of a burfi or anything that's keto approved for me and I know I can consume it guilt-free. I take it with me. So if I'm going out to celebrate a friend's birthday or anything like that and everybody's enjoying a nice chocolate cake, I can pull out my little piece of dessert and enjoy it. And at the same time, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And it's delicious. There's really no feeling of missing anything at this point. It's super, super yummy. So I hope you enjoyed this burfi, or kalakand, sometimes people call it, recipe. It's fully keto. It's yummy. It's got net 1 gram of carb per piece. So super delicious. You can enjoy 1 or 2 after dinner and it'll be perfect. Now, if you feel like somebody that you know would love this recipe, please share it with them. Anybody who's trying to cut down on carbs, anybody who maybe not even is on the keto diet, but maybe is diabetic or needs a delicious dessert, please share this video with them and please like it. And also leave a comment if you do decide to try it and let me know how you feel about it. So remember, it's easy to keto if you know how. Bye. Thank you.